You're saying, look, you've done nothing wrong, and I'm using my free speech to say, no, f*** you. You're an asshole.
This man who has a multi-million-dollar product.
Look at this class reductionist here. He's like, listen, he's rich, so we should hate his guts.
No. Hold on.
Look, you can spell better than him, so you have the power, Vito. What are you doing? You have the privilege, the spelling privilege.
If I devoted my energy to going after a homeless guy, I would get it and be like, what the f*** are you doing? Like, who cares that his comic sucks? This is a guy who is being hyped up as the biggest independent comic creator
and you're
of all time.
Seethingly jealous of that. It's
Why would I be jealous
apparent.
of a fucking libertarian comic?
You're jealous of the $5 million in sales that he's done. It offends your sensibility as an artist. You think, oh my God, this is trash, and why are people buying it? It's a typical elitist perspective that a lot of people have.
Hold on.
It is jealousy. What are you talking about?
Saying this is trash, why are people buying it, is jealousy?
Yes. So what? Okay, yes. You're like, oh my God, they should buy my amazing comic from me.
When I say
author genius,
when
Vito.
I say.
Okay, Eric July drama. You want to talk about it or no?
Yeah.
First of all, what is the drama?
Okay, this is my understanding. I've only watched one Vito video and one Eric July video, and this is my understanding. Mm-hmm. So Eric July has a comic called ISOM. ISOM.
Mm-hmm. Made
a shit $1 billion. He made like, I think, over $1 million on this first comic, and his second comic slated to make $2 million. It's an astronomical amount of money. I have no clue why, but whatever. I haven't read it, but he's got a huge fan base for some reason. I've never seen any of his content, so I don't even know what he talks about. Maybe he's amazing. I don't know. So anyway, so his comic called ISOM. Vito and Dick Masterson very publicly, Vito talked about this when he was on our show, were very publicly criticizing his comic, saying it sucks and is poorly written and stuff like that. So they've been very harsh critics of his comic. Apparently, someone who is a fan, well, here's the contentious argument. Okay, I don't know how to tell the story neutrally, so I'll say this. Okay, some person apparently went to an organization called the International School of Ministry, which is some Christian organization that has the same acronym, ISOM. And they went to them and they kind of did a troll letter where they said, hey, do you know that this Eric July fella is making a comic book called ISOM? He's confusing your trademark. They didn't word it this way, but this is essentially the point of the letter. He's confusing your trademark.
Well, the troll actually turned the letter into evidence that there was some confusion going on in the marketplace because they posed as a journalist.
Right. You're correct. That's important.
And they said, look, I'm a journalist, and it's so interesting that your organization, ISOM, has started this comic book character with Eric July name ISOM, and you're, giving a voice to this comic book character. Your brand is being lent to this comic book character. Can I interview you and figure out what your motivation was for doing that?
Right. And you're right. That's what makes the troll. That's what makes the troll effective, is the person's pretending to be a journalist and they're pretending that they are confused by the two brands. Right.
When they aren't confused at all. They know exactly what's going on and
So Eric July gets a letter from the International School of Ministry that wants to discuss some way to alleviate this brand confusion.
Right. Discreetly.
Yeah,
that's important.
Right. Discreetly. And it's not really clear what they mean by alleviate the brand confusion either, right? The letter I saw is kind of vague in general.
They probably want him to change the name of his comic.
Sure. That would be the easiest way, but he's going to say no. And so who knows? But they be clear, they hadn't threatened to sue him yet or anything. They just wanted to discuss the matter. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So Eric July gets this letter. He kind of freaks out. He interprets it as an immediate lawsuit threat. And then he also believes that the person that sent the letter to this International School of Ministry, he assumes and believes, and he has some rationale for this, that this was actually Vito who did this.
The one word people are going to fixate on is you saying he freaked out. What makes you say he freaked out? I only saw the video that he made, and it didn't seem like a freak out or anything.
So if he gets a letter and he says, I'm going to sue, or implies he's going to sue Vito for this, for disrupting his business and start a lawsuit, to me, that's freaking out.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, people can quibble about this, you know.
Look, I just want to make it clear. I didn't know what you meant, so now people know.
Okay. So he gets this letter. He becomes agitated in some fashion. Okay.
He freaks the fuck out.
He freaks out. He becomes agitated. He becomes enraged, whatever fucking word you want to use to describe this. He believes, for various reasons, that the person that sent this letter was actually Vito. And so he threatened to, or implied he was going to, because it's sort of contentious what exactly it was meant, that he was going to sue, that he was going to have lawyers that were going to, he has big brain lawyers that are going to somehow handle the situation with ISOM, and that he was going to go and turn around and sue Vito for, you know, whatever.
Yeah, what is he suing Vito for? Because that's what I'm unclear
I don't know.
on.
Whatever.
I don't know. Look,
business,
let's just give
tortious business interference or something. I have no fucking clue.
Let's give Eric July the benefit of the doubt and say Vito was completely 100% responsible for this. Okay. I don't know that he was. Let's pretend that Vito.
Theoretically, we'll say it was Vito. Right. Okay. Yeah, he's going to sue.
I do not think it's illegal to notify somebody that there's a party infringing on your trademark. It is 100% a dick move.
Yeah, well, that was part of the thing.
A complete dick move. Right.
So
because
that was
there was no confusion in the marketplace until you manufactured it.
Well, so I don't know, because okay. So normally, yes, I would assume. And part of when I first heard the story, I'm like, well, you could say Vito or whoever sent this letter is an asshole, is a bad person.
But they're not breaking the law.
I don't think what they're doing is illegal. Now, maybe there's some legal issue if the person is
committing fraud, pretending to be a journalist,
pretending to be a journalist and pretending there's brand confusion in order to provoke a response when there's not. Maybe that's something. I don't know. If it was, I would think it would be more on the minor side of things. But okay, so that was my understanding of the order of events. Vito responds by saying, "Yeah, that person that sent that letter isn't me. You have no reason to believe it's me. It is a person who is a fan of him and Dick Masterson, but is a random person that did this completely on their own without any sort of commandments from Vito or Dick Masterson to engage in this behavior at all."
Right.
And Vito talks about how, you know, that this guy had sent them material about some other thing in the past that they had talked about on the show, and how even though this guy's Twitter account is now deleted, you can go back and see he has a very, very long Twitter history of arguing about, you know, a million different things over the years. And it seems unlikely, at least from his argument, that Vito, would have a separate account to argue with people when he is one of these no-hold-bars, argues with anyone about any fucking thing, you know,
on his main. Yeah, he's arguing on main. Yeah.
Right. So
he's not secret about being a dick, which, I mean...
Right. Exactly, yeah.
My experience with Vito is 100% true.
Right. And because of that, I'm inclined to believe that Vito didn't do this, that it was a random fan of theirs that did this.
Right.
And that there is no evidence that Vito is this other secret account or whatever doing this.
To some extent, though, I do think, I mean, they kind of encouraged it, did they not?
Well, okay, well, here it depends. So there's a clip of Dick Masterson saying that he loves shitting on Eric July, and they did do something about, they were attacking. So what, and maybe you can say this, and this you could say I think you could say that they were not directly responsible, but you can throw blame at Dick Masterson to say that maybe he cultivated this environment, because they did do his thing. I don't know if it was the same guy or if I don't know if it was Dick Masterson. So I'm probably butchering the facts here. There was some incident where Eric July was supposedly donating some comics or something to a charity, and they were like trying to make sure it was actually like they were like, you know, calling the charity and checking to make sure it really happened, you know, blah 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 blah.
You're the charity police now? I mean, come on.
Okay. Yeah, they were the charity. Don't say you're, okay. I'm
Well,
not
no,
involved
yeah,
in the
no,
situation.
obviously you're
Okay.
not involved, but I'm
Right.
saying, look, Dick and Vito are the charity.
Yeah,
What?
right. They were doing something to investigate this to annoy
I mean, I
Eric
guess
July.
they're doing it for entertainment value, but I just look.
They're doing it. They're trolling, and Dick Masterson's very upfront that this is, you know, troll.
Yeah.
Now, so, but I think it's a stretch to say that like doing that into making fun of Eric July, like they would have any responsibility either legally or even morally for some random person on their own doing the ISOM thing. Because it's like, to me, that's like a huge stretch away from anything that they've done that I'm aware of.
Right.
You know, unless they were on stream telling people like, "Hey, we want you to go find ways to fuck with Eric July." I don't think, you know, or unless they were just like continually just, you know, fucking with Eric July continually, like in all these weird ass fucking ways. And when people would, and kind of their fans would also fuck with Eric July in weird ass ways, and they would talk about it on stream and hype it up. Unless they were doing something to that effect, I don't see how they have any responsibility for any of this.
I mean, I do think they're kind of doing that, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. To my knowledge, they're not. They did it with one thing with the charity, and that was it.
Okay. So it's just like a one show thing.
To my understanding, I'm not.
Okay.
Again, I'm not following this. Now, if it's true that they were doing some continual segment, you know, repeatedly, like the how we're going to fuck with Eric July, and like he's like, oh, caller so and so, they fucked with Eric July this week. Like then I would agree with them. They're definitely cultivating an atmosphere of people behaving this way. To my
I
understanding,
see them both on Twitter fucking with
Mhm.
Eric July all the time.
it was in between
Like, that's
them
like-
fucking with Eric July and like, what does that mean? Like they're just insulting him? They're
Yeah.
just talking about how his stuff sucks.
Yeah. And how
Mhm.
he's just unprofessional and
Yeah.
doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, he's got 5 million in sales. I don't know how you can credibly make that
Yeah, but
argument.
that's, to me, insulting someone continually is very different than fucking with them. When I think of fucking with them, I think you're not just like insulting someone's insulting someone. Fucking with someone is doing something in like a non-direct way, right?
Okay.
That's what I mean when I say they're fucking with them. So
Okay.
like if they were, I don't know, like if they were trying to, like if they had their fans, you know, prank call Eric July constantly, or I don't know, try to do something to disrupt the supply chain of comic books. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if they had done
Force
something
him
that
to
was
change the name of his comic
right, or
that
something
he's
to that
got
effect.
$5 million in sales.
Yes, right.
I
If
mean,
the-
that's kind of a big deal.
No, it is. You're not following what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying if Vito, to me, you can't say, well, Vito and Eric July were constantly criticizing. I'm sorry, Vito and Dick Masterson were constantly criticizing Eric July. So therefore, they are some level of culpability for their fans doing some weird thing like this.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm saying if Vito and Dick Masterson and their fans were doing weird things like this before this, the whole calling ISOM thing, they're doing kind of like weird outside things like this continually, and they would make a big deal about it on their show, then I would agree with you that they're basically ramping up their audience to act in some specific way.
Right.
So if they're like,
Okay.
oh, you know, so-and-so sent, you know, mailed dog shit to Eric July, and we're going to talk about our show and laugh, ha, 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 ha. So-and-so, you know, went to Eric July's house and they burned a stack of his comic books, ha, 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 ha. Let's talk about that. You understand what I'm saying? Like if they were actually incentivizing people to do things other than just criticize them, then
Right.
maybe
on
I'd
the,
agree.
On the
Right.
internet. Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right. Which to my knowledge, that didn't really happen.
I mean, Vito came on our show and was criticizing
Yeah, but
Eric July.
yeah, but criticizing is fine. Bad mouthing is fine.
Right.
It's when you do behavior that's outside of the realm of just criticizing or shit talking someone.
Right. What if that behavior's totally legal?
Yeah, it could be, but I'm saying that would, to me, then you'd still have moral culpability. If they had a bunch of people that were just like harassing him in a legal way and they were talking about it and praising it, then I would say, yes, they're cultivating an atmosphere for people to behave in this way, obviously.
Vito for $2 says, I have a right to tell Eric his comic is trash. Is that really Vito?
Well, there you go. But see, that's right.
That's hilarious.
That's my position. If all he's doing, if all
Vito, you're trash. Get out of our chat.
If all Vito, that is Vito. Thank you, Vito. if all Vito and Dick Masterson are just insulting his comic and telling him that his comic sucks, then they're not culpable for people that are fans of theirs doing some like extracurricular activity.
What is it about Vito? You just say his name and he materializes.
Do you not agree with that, Adam?
Do I not agree with what?
Okay. If all they're doing...
I'm too stunned by the fact that Vito has just magically appeared in our chat.
Thank you, Vito, for the $2.
I've never seen him in our chat before.
No, I've seen him occasionally. Because I'm sure he has fans to go and tell him. They're saying, sit down, I'm talking about this. Okay. If all Vito and Dick Masterson are doing is talking about that the comic sucks, and they're just insulting him, right? Yes. To me, that's not you creating an environment where you're morally culpable or legally culpable if one of the fans does an extra activity outside the bounds of criticism, like calling up ISOM or doing something to that effect.
So let me push back.
Okay.
You're not morally culpable, but I don't think it's a stretch to think something like that is probably going to happen.
I guess it would depend on how they talk about him. Because, like, for example, we criticize people all the time on this show.
Yeah, but it's different here. We're like, don't bother these people. Don't. And not only that, we don't. I mean,
What I'm saying is, like, if all they're doing is just laughing about how much his comic sucks and shitting on it, I don't think you would say, well, it would follow that one of their fans would do this, troll where they try to get the trademark in trouble. Because to me, that's like such an extra level of activity.
This plays specifically into the narrative, though, that they're promoting, though. That's the interesting dynamic here, because the narrative that Vito and Dick are promoting is that Eric July is a shitty businessman, doesn't know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. This is kind of promoting that narrative in a big way, because their argument is that he didn't do any of the background trademark research to be in this situation. So their response to this is basically, "Oh, Eric, this is your fault. You didn't do your due diligence." So they kind of are in the position where they're saying he has it coming, right?
Well, who's saying that?
Vito and Dick Masterson.
Yeah, but are they saying that just on top of saying the other arguments that they're not responsible for this because they didn't tell anyone to do this and they haven't created an environment where people would think to do this? And then they say, well, then on top of that also,
I don't know that they're
did shitty because he didn't look into the...
I don't know that they're saying any of the stuff that you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah. But look, I'm just going off of what I've seen on Twitter.
Right.
Which on Twitter, Vito came on our show. We talked a bit about it with him.
Yeah.
I don't understand why there needs to be this big creator civil war thing, but maybe I'm just naive, and maybe this is completely blowing up Vito's comic campaign. He's got a comic campaign, and I think he's done more sales than we've done.
So, yeah, he's doing very well. Yeah.
So maybe a lot of people are buying because they're into this drama. I don't know. So maybe I'm wrong here, and this drama is actually tangibly helping him with his campaign.
Well, even if it's not, okay, if we criticize someone for making a shitty YouTube video,
quite often, we just did a video criticizing someone.
If we criticize someone for making a shitty YouTube video, and they get all bent out of sorts,
right?
Like a certain person named Quackademic Agent,
right? Yeah.
Okay, so that we regularly would make fun of that person because of that,
right?
Right. That doesn't mean that puts us morally responsible if someone goes and does a President's Sunday on Quackademic Agent.
No, it's not. Of course not.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. In order for me to believe that Vito and Dick Masterson have some level of responsibility, would be that in their show, they are incentivizing in some way for people to go out and do these sort of extracurricular activities to Eric July or to other people, which I haven't seen evidence of that.
Right. Now Vito is asking to call in, which I'm inclined to just decline.
But
Because I don't
really care.
Well, no, I don't think it's fair. Like, I think Vito talking a bunch of shit on our show is just going to perpetuate the problem without Eric July having any sort of pushback. It's like,
no, have Vito come on. You can clip it then. This isn't really worth clipping otherwise. Maybe he'll come on and say something interesting.
okay, sure. Vito, I'll send you the link. What do you
This is not going to be a long conversation, by the way. It's going to be like 10, 20 minutes maximum.
Were you making... Look, he said 2 minutes in the super chat.
Okay,
you already got him up to 20
2
minutes.
minutes. I didn't see the super chat. 2 minutes is fine.
What was the point that you were making before Vito so rudely interrupted our conversation?
My point was the same point. Was saying if you were trying to ascribe blame to them for this, you'd have to show that they were engaged in some kind of environment where they incentivize people to engage in some kind of extracurricular activity.
But you never answered the question about whether or not you thought it was probable that you could see this coming from a
I don't think
miles away.
Well, if all they're doing is criticizing his comic, then no, I don't think it's probable.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my answer.
I think it is probable simply because of the narrative.
That he's a bad businessman?
Yes, because all of their audience is out to prove that narrative. Their narrative is that he doesn't know anything about business and he's completely naive to the ways of the world. And they're going to be fishing around for ways to prove that narrative. And this, I mean, does this not prove the narrative perfectly? Is this not evidence of that narrative?
I mean, I guess a little bit. But I think that's too tenuous of a connection in my mind. Like, why was the bad businessman angle even attached to it?
Well, Vito keeps tweeting out about spelling errors in his videos and stuff.
Well, it's not bad business. It's just saying he's a bad editor.
Look, as someone who is a bad speller, glass houses, I'm not here. I can't.
Yeah.
I definitely have no room. You have no room to criticize either. You're terrible, Sitch. You don't even know where the question mark comes when you do a question mark exclamation point.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I've sent Vito the link now.
Okay.
See.
We'll get to the bottom of this in 2 minutes. Okay.
Well, we're not. I mean, why is Vito even coming on? I know his.
We'll see if he says something worthwhile that will go viral. Vito, we want you to say something crazy, like use the N-word or something.
Not true.
No?
Please.
Okay.
Don't do that, Vito.
Hey now. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I won't take up your time. I just, you guys are talking about it. I thought I'd give you any perspective you might want. Yeah. I won't derail the show. I'm a good guy.
You're saying it in the tone of voice that makes it sound like you're going to.
Ensler. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. I got another
That's a little off-brand for you as a social justice warrior, Vito. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah,
I'm not. True. I'm towing. I don't know what I am. I mean, I'll get to the point. We have a podcast, and we don't like Eric July's comic. We don't like that there's a lot of these guys on YouTube whose job is to review media, right? They review movies, they review TV shows. They say Star Wars is, ruined and Kathleen Kennedy is ruining Star Wars. Stuff I agree with, some of it, not all of it. And those same guys made a bunch of videos saying the comic industry is about to change. Marvel and DC are scared of the Rippaverse. The Rippaverse is going to change comics forever. There's a lot of people saying...
Well, come on, Vito. You're talking about stuff we already know. This has all been said on our show the first time. We want it...
Sure, but I mean, I think it sets up why... Well, you're asking why... A lot of people are asking...
Someone did this thing where they pretended to be a journalist. They contacted ISOM, and they tried to create a situation that would be perceived as confusion, brand confusion, okay?
Yeah.
Do you think that would have happened in a world where Vito and Dick Masterson's show did not exist?
I don't think that I don't think this fan would have sent that without our show.
So do you think anyone would have this situation of brand confusion, do you think that would have appeared in the marketplace had you not been involved?
Yes.
Okay, so you think sooner or later someone would have gone, this is confusing, I don't know what's happening here.
Let me put it this way, and I don't even know if people will believe me, but when Eric announced his comic was named ISOM, I Googled the word ISOM and the International School of Ministry came up.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, well, his comic hero has like a cross on his, is this a reference to this organization? Now, I obviously kept doing research and I went, no, this is like an original character. It has no connection to this school. But like, I understand that confusion could obviously exist. He has a character who has like a Christian trademark or has a cross on him, and it has the same name. It's like this very weird name. I've never heard anyone called ISOM. Same name as this school.
Right.
Did you say any of this publicly, or is this just like your thought process?
No, I did say this publicly, like way back when. But
you did say this.
Yeah.
Sitch,
Okay.
how do you feel about it?
Well, okay, we'll continue.
No, I mean, I briefly mentioned it. I said, is this connected? And then I said, no, it's definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's the thing is, honestly, I don't think they have a good trademark claim because at the end of the day, like, even though you might have a brief confusion, it's like, it's still a comic book hero who like beats up bad guys versus a school of ministry. Like, these are obviously very different industries that they're operating in. Mm-hmm. So I don't even think he has. I mean, I don't know. Like, again, Rekieta talked about this. He's like, well, you know, because of the like Christian imagery, like they're going to harp on that and the fact that they both sell hats that say ISOM on them. Mm-hmm. Like maybe there's a case.
Well, and they're going to smell money. He just had $5 million in sales on their brand.
Well, let's be clear. If I was them and I've been using ISOM for 12 years and then all of a sudden I don't have the number one result for ISOM anymore, I'm going to be like, well, is it okay that I just, you know, this guy's ISOM is more popular than my ISOM, or did he actually take my trademark? Like, they have a reasonable reason to be like, okay, I want to make sure this guy is using our mark correctly. But again, at the end of the day, like, I mean, isn't the real question, like, are we trying to like start lawsuits? I mean, it doesn't really matter what my actual opinion on the lawsuit is.
Okay, so my question is, so did all you guys do, you just like criticize the comic, or was there some other activities that fans were engaged in that you guys were like cheering on?
We criticize the comic. We talk about, we think Eric July is spending too much money on employees and warehouses and you know, other associated things. Like, yeah, we do criticize.
He's a job creator. Why are you complaining about?
You could be a job creator without, you know, some of the things he's doing. Let's just say, part of the reason I'm invested in this is like, I'm a comic fan and I know the history of the comic industry and all these like different comic publishers that have gone out of business because they got like a big head. Like, I always think about the guy, the co-creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who he made a shit ton of money from the Turtles comic and immediately went, well, I'm going to set up a huge publishing company and I'm going to buy Heavy Metal magazine and pay all these people a bunch of money. And he lost like all his money in like 5 years.
Right. And
stories like that are super interesting to me, where I'm like, yeah, if you have a success, you have to be very careful and you can't go, you know, it's like the Clone High joke. I've seen the first 2/3 of the MC Hammer behind the music and the money never runs out. Like, no, the money can run out.
Vito, we don't care about your life history.
First of all, thank you for making a Clone High reference. I do appreciate it.
You're very welcome. See, I'm appreciated here.
Yes. Thank you.
Ultimately, look, Eric July could be a very rich man for a long time, but we see him making a lot of very obvious business mistakes, especially as it comes to the realm of comics.
What is Eric July suing you for?
Wait. I need, okay. But to finish my questioning, my question was, so you guys are criticizing the comic, you're criticizing his business practices.
Business model, yeah.
Was there anything else?
I mean, I'm sure Dix said something, I don't know, man, like, I can't. I know. I don't know.
Well, like, okay, did a fan do something like something outside the realm of criticizing? Did a fan leave dog shit on his stoop and then call you guys and say, we left poopy on his house, and you guys went, ha 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 ha?
There's a guy named Riley who keeps saying, I'm going to get in shape so I can roll up on Eric July and shave his hairy arms. We're pretty sure that's a joke, right? So we've laughed at. We've gone, ha, that's funny. Eric July is saying this man is threatening to come to my house. And I'm like, I don't think he's serious, Eric. I don't think he's actually going to roll up and shave you. I think it's a bit.
Does
Right.
Eric July come up on the show every time you do the show? How often does Eric July come up?
At this point, I mean, look, honestly, here's the thing. After Dick reviewed his comic, we're like, okay, we did it. And we're pretty sure we're done with that. And then he responded, and we're like, okay, and responded in like a big way, like calling, like kind of went nuts. We're like, I thought this guy was a millionaire. Why does he care they were talking shit about his comic? And again, it's a situation where we just did a bonus episode. We read ISOM 2 and we reviewed it. And we both went, all right, well, this is about as far as it can go. The audience is probably done with this. Let's stop talking about Eric July. And then he makes a big video about how he's going to sue us. So, look, you can say, like, why do you guys keep talking about Eric July? And it's like, I don't know, man. He keeps giving us something to talk about. Like, every time we try to get away from him, he either makes a video about us, or he threatens legal action, or he starts, DMCA striking our fans and getting them banned from Twitter. And we're like, well, I guess we got to talk about that. Because does it take up the bulk of the show? No, but we'll touch on it.
How is he striking your fans? Are they putting images of the comic or something in the tweets?
There's been there was this saga where he started DMCA striking people. And to be clear, like, some of those DMCA strikes, like, somebody linked to a pirated copy of the comic. Obviously, you can strike that. Like, we're not stupid. We get that. Right. But there was another person named Vicky who posted two pages from the comic. And she said, the coloring in ISOM sucks. Here's the problem with the coloring. Like, if it's a club scene, it should not change from color from page to page. It should be consistent lighting. Like, was making very obvious fair use criticism. Like, you're allowed to take a piece of art, analyze it, and talk about what you like or don't like about it. Mm-hmm. Eric made the claim that you obtained those screenshots from a pirated copy of the book. And because of that, it's not valid fair use criticism, and I can delete it. But here's the thing. You don't have to own a piece of media to make fair use criticism about it. Like, if I would take a clip of a movie, I can comment on the clip from the movie. I don't have to own the movie. Like, this was a very clear false DMCA strike that, and again, you're a multimillionaire. If some lady wants to say that the lighting in your comic sucks, why are you spending time policing that and striking people's accounts over it? Like, and it was a very clear false DMCA strike. So yeah, we talk about that on the show. Like, Eric is very thin-skinned. He has plenty of fans who are posting, pictures of ISOM and saying, this is what I like. He doesn't strike any of them. But you criticize the lighting, and he goes, oh, well, that's a violation. This is pirated, and I'm taking it down.
Look, I watched Eric July's response video, I guess, to this whole ISOM trademark mess.
Yeah.
It's not completely clear to me whether or not he's planning on suing you, and if so, what he's planning on suing you for. So, do you understand that, or?
Here's what Nick Rekieta did a good roundup of this, which is, what is he suing us for? Because let's be clear. First of all, we never directed a fan to send this, okay? Clearly, somebody who was a fan of the show decided they wanted to stir up some drama, sent a stupid email, okay? I disavow it. I don't want people attaching the name of our show to their stupid emails that they send out and fucking around.
It doesn't appear that way. You're sending very mixed messages here. You're coming on our show and you're condemning it, but I see you guys laughing about it on your show and just having a riot fest over it.
Well, Dick has the opposite opinion. Dick is saying, I don't condemn what they did. Like, they're allowed to say, hey, I think you have a trademark violation here.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can see where that conflicting message is going to tell people in the future, I should do.
I'm not my brother's keeper, man. If you want to say Dick's encouraging people to do something wrong. But at the end of the day, again, Nick Rekieta said, what this fan did, I condemn it. Dick doesn't care. I think Dick is just like, whatever, fuck it. But regardless, at the end of the day, there's no law against telling a company, hey, there might be a trademark infringement that you need to look.
There might be some law, some sort of fraud in claiming to be a journalist and literally manufacturing a piece of evidence that there is confusion in the marketplace, because the letter becomes a piece of evidence in the lawsuit.
That's okay. Well, Eric should figure out who sent the letter and sue them. And if he thinks he has a legal case against this individual, I don't care. Go nuts, man. I don't care if you sue some dumb fan of my show. I didn't give him permission to send this stupid email. If anything, it's created nothing but fucking headache for me. So I'd honestly, if you sue him, I'd be like, good, maybe that'll tell the other fans, don't get me dragged in your stupid bullshit. Dick's a little more like, what do I fucking care? But that, you know what? I don't control Dick. I disagree with Dick on a lot. That's part of the show.
So you don't, but you don't know if that's the intent. You don't know what the intent is for Eric July.
In terms of suing us?
Yes.
I'll say this. Eric July thought he had a really good legal case against us. He thought he had this big gotcha that he said, oh, they sent the email. I can prove it. And everyone's like, okay, prove it. And he went, well, I can't prove it. I was like, well, then you don't have anything.
Well,
and even if he could prove it, he doesn't have a case.
Yeah, I don't know that that's breaking the law unless it's a fraud case.
There's two layers here. One, he can't prove it was us. Two, if he could prove it was us, it's not illegal, according to Nick Rekieta and other lawyers that have looked at it. I mean, let's be clear. We're not dummies either. Dick has a lawyer. He talked to his lawyer. He said, is there anything here? Like, do I need to be worried about this? And the lawyer laughed his ass off. He said, that's a pretty funny email. No, you have nothing to worry about. This guy's a troll and he's an asshole, but this is not illegal behavior. I'm allowed to contact Coca-Cola and make stupid jokes and be like, did you hear about my buddy's, he makes Coke hats. Have you heard about that? Maybe you need to sue him, So yeah, it's a guy fucking around. It sucks, but
why does he think that? Why does Eric July think that this, or he can prove that this was you?
He doesn't think that.
Oh, okay.
Eric July made a video talking a lot of game, saying I have receipts, and I said, well, if you got receipts, what are they? Because I honestly have no idea what you're talking about because I didn't send this stupid email. And he goes, oh, we got them. And I'm like, well, I think now at the point where everyone is asking you, how do you actually know they did this? Like, what evidence do you actually have? I think now whatever secret magic information you're holding on to, now would be the time to clear the record. And he made a video where he basically, everyone's like, when are you going to sue these guys? When are you going to sue these guys? And he's responding to all of them going, when did I ever say I was going to sue anybody? We're not talking about. We're not suing anybody. So I'm like, okay. I mean, you posted a bunch of memes of you counting stacks of money. I assumed that was you saying you were going to waste your money on a frivolous lawsuit trying to take me to the cleaners. What I'm afraid of is that Eric July is a big dummy who throws his money away constantly. So I'm like, this is the kind of guy who would file a frivolous lawsuit just to waste my time. But it seems like he talked to a lawyer and they're like, listen, man, you can't prove it was them. And even if you could, it's not illegal. That stupid email some fans sent. So he's completely backing off. This was like a huge miscalculation on his part. He figured, oh, I'm really going to nail these guys to the wall. And now that everyone's like, well, you need evidence. How do you know they did that? He's going, don't worry about it. We'll get into it later. He's got nothing. It's been honestly, my heart was in my chest. I'm like a big dumb millionaire is about to file a frivolous lawsuit.
So you were scared when you thought he was going to file a frivolous lawsuit.
I don't want to go to court, man.
You don't want to have to hire an attorney. You don't want to have to sign a check for $5,000 for attorney consultation.
Bro, I don't want to talk to an attorney. I want to sit in my house and pet my cats and work on stupid YouTube videos. I don't want to add anything to my life. I don't want any needless legal bullshit. At the end of the day, though, if Eric July did sue me, he's going to get immediately hit with anti-SLAPP law, strategic lawsuit against public participation.
Still, it's going to cost you $5,000 out of pocket just for that.
Yes. He's going to pay triple our attorney's fees when he gets hit with SLAPP. Because let's be clear, Eric July is not just a regular guy. He is a very obvious public figure. Okay, he's on Glenn Beck's news network. He has a comic book that has been featured on Fox News that has made millions of dollars. As a public figure, you have a very limited amount of what you can do. Let's put it this way, it was very common at a point in time where if you were a rich guy and you didn't want people to talk shit about you, you would just file a big lawsuit, bankrupt them, and walk away, right? And that's why we have SLAPP laws. Yeah, we have SLAPP laws because the courts went, well, this is fucked, okay? Totally. But that's not how the law is supposed to work. So Eric July, as a huge public figure, he's going to need a lot more than these guys made fun of me on their podcast, and then one of their fans sent a joking email to a school of ministry, which actually might have a valid trademark claim against me.
Okay, so, I have one more thing, and then we can wrap up. Unless you do.
I have a bunch of things because you keep changing the subject to less important things.
Is this? Well, I feel like this is important.
Okay. What do you want to say?
What was less?
No,
important?
you say whatever you want to say first.
Well, you're really, Vito, downplaying the impact of potentially having to change the name of his comic ISOM when he has a bunch of branding and $5 million in sales. So do you think, Vito, that he is going to have to do that? And do you recognize that that's kind of a big deal?
I recognize that it would be inconvenient for him to change the name of his comic. But let's be clear. He made that big video about us without ever contacting this school of ministry, which has the trademark dispute with them. Did you see the tweet they put out?
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So if he's worried about his trademark, why doesn't he handle it like an actual businessman and talk to this company and figure something out instead of making this big weird video accusing us of having secret sock puppet accounts to start lawsuits against him? Right. This seems like something where
you disagree with his strategy, but you admit that it's a big deal if he has to change the name.
I don't think it's a big deal. No, I think he could change. I think he could change the name of the comic to The Incredible ISOM, and it would like, what is he going to lose there? He doesn't like the name as much. You know, it could be called Mighty ISOM, and then it's very clearly a different mark. Like, how would you confuse Mighty ISOM with ISOM.com? Like, there are so many simple ways to deal with this potential trademark issue. And it's not going to cost. He's said in multiple tweets, he's like, this is a minor issue and my lawyers are handling it. Well, that's very different from the fucking video you put out where you said we're destroying your life and your business. Now he's changed it tune. He said, oh, we've got it handled.
Sitch,
well, then if you haven't handled,
you have other questions?
Yeah. What is the we sent the email thing that everyone keeps pointing to?
Basically, like at one point, the same guy who later sent this email to the School of Ministry had previously sent in stuff to our show, right?
Right.
He had sent in a different email he had sent to a comic book charity asking them like how much money they're getting from Eric. And these were questions we had. We're like, well, yeah, is he donating the money, whatever else? And, you know, I think Dick puts it best, which is when you're doing like a radio show or a podcast, it can be fun to make it sound like you have some, you know, organization like, well, we've looked into this, you know, we've done our due diligence, you know, we've got this excited. At the end of the day, a fan sent us an email and we thought it was interesting. We read it on the show. You know, when we said we didn't mean like, yeah, we sent the email ourselves. It was just kind of like, a fan sent it in, but we're going to take credit for it.
I think, have you learned that was stupid to do this going forward?
I mean, in hindsight, you know what? I never predicted a fan was going to try and get Eric July sued. You know, it's not the kind of thing that ever ran through my head. Like, well, wait, what if later this guy sends an insane email about a trademark dispute? Right. And from going forward, I think me and Dick have a pretty strong rule of like, when somebody sends us something, we're going to say a fan sent us this.
Right.
I think that's going to be the going forward, the way we talk about that.
If you're not sued into oblivion. If you still exist.
Bro, if Eric July sues us, we're going to get rich. That's the end of it. Because we're going to countersue this guy for defamation. Yeah. He put out a video that very clearly said...
You guys are public figures too. What are you talking?
We're public figures, but you can't say these guys sent this sneaky email if you can't prove it. And the way he phrased it...
That's true. Yeah.
Dude, the way he said it and the way all his fans clearly came away with the belief where he goes, we have more receipts coming soon, therefore insinuating that he has more information about some nefarious deeds we're up to. That's defamation against my character, to claim that not only can you definitively prove that I sent some stupid email, which I clearly didn't send. I've brought up the history of the guy who sent it. He has, 7 years of Twitter history. I was not in 2017 acting as this guy arguing with PETA. Okay.
How are you going to show damages though? Your comic campaign went up by $10,000.
Well, here's the thing is the damages are, what does this limit in terms of my ability to grow my audience? Like, yes, some things have gone up, but let's be clear. Am I going to be invited on any comic skate streams anytime soon? No, because they're all Eric July dick suckers, and he's convinced them that we're running secret shadow campaigns to get people sued. Like, if I try to enter into a business,
I don't know that you were going to get invited on comic skate.
I've been on comic skate streams. Absolutely, regardless. I have. No, I was on.
I mean,
them.
I saw you.
Well, this would be this would be a counter suit.
Yellow Flash's stream.
You wouldn't be suing him normally. This would be a counter suit, right? Or are you talking about suing him?
At
Even if
this
he doesn't
point,
sue
we
you?
have enough that if we just want to straight up fire, it would probably be me because the accusation was very clearly leveled to me that I sent this email. And let's be clear, look at the chat. They believe it. People believe Eric July. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that he cannot prove this because it's a lie. I know that if we went to court, he would fucking lose. So I think he's scared. If you watch his most recent video, I think he's realized, fuck, I thought I had these guys dead to rights, but I've just realized I have no way to prove these ridiculous accusations I've put out there. He's put me in the position to have a very obvious defamation lawsuit.
What is the content of the most recent video?
Wait. I don't know if him saying that he thinks or that he has extra receipts that's going to prove it, I don't know if that's enough for defamation.
I think the fact that he put out a video that very clearly insinuates I did something that I did not do. He accused me of sending emails to try and coordinate lawsuits against his business and against a comic business, knowing I'm a fellow comic creator. Creates huge problems for me in an industry which I am trying to participate.
Oh, no, I agree. But I'm saying my understanding for defamation is you have to prove that they knew what they were saying wasn't true. I have to say he thought that it was true.
I think I have enough to prove that he acted recklessly with disregard for the truth.
Okay. Well, you're going to have to figure out what is his quote receipts that he's referencing.
Let's put it this way: I don't want to sue anybody. At the end of the day, I don't want any legal trouble.
That's good.
But
I don't want no trouble.
If Eric is going to continue to insinuate that there is some sort of secret information that only he has that he can't show anybody, of what did I do?
I mean, see you tweeting about this guy every 5 minutes, Vito. How can you say you don't want trouble?
It's my right.
Look, but you're sitting here going, look, I don't want any.
Hold on. If a multimillionaire makes a video saying he's going to sue me into the ground, all his YouTuber buddies, guys with 500,000, 1 million subs, are retweeting it going, I'll do anything to support you, Eric. How can I crowdfund the lawsuit against these jackasses? You think I'm going to just go, well, I guess I'll just wait it out. No, I'm on the fucking warpath now. Eric July is done. Okay.
Look, so you can't if you're saying Eric July is done, you can't say, look, I don't want any trouble. That's all I'm saying.
Fine. All right.
You're on the warpath. You're in a kamikaze mission with this guy. Yeah, exactly.
I'm the one who knocks.
I'm telling him.
Stop trying to say, oh, I'm innocent Vito here. I don't want any trouble. No, you're perpetuating it.
Here's the bottom line. I don't want trouble. I'm being forced. My hand has been forced.
It's defensive.
It is 100%
defensive invasion.
Guys,
yes.
I think you're crossing state lines here. I don't think this is defensive.
This was a big fun joke. I go on my podcast. I go, ISOM, what a shitty comic. Eric July doesn't know what he's doing. The second he goes and accuses me of shit I haven't done and says he's going to use his legal muscle to expose secret information about me, which is a blatant fucking lie. Yes, I'm on the warpath. It's a defensive warpath. Now, if Eric July wants to come out and go,
this is not a defensive warpath. I've seen you on Twitter. Stop saying that.
Wait, what you're saying? Okay, I don't know, Adam. What you're saying contradicts what Vito's saying. Just because if Vito's being attacked,
I'm responding. I'm
and
the
Vito's
responding
attacking
party.
back.
He's not.
That doesn't disregard
I'm the furious responding party.
Okay.
He's continually stoking the fires on Twitter over and over again.
But here's the problem. Okay, so if Eric July makes these two videos and he accuses Vito of whatever, and then you now have like thousands of Eric July fans constantly attacking Vito, right? And so then Vito's attacking the fans and attacking
He's
Eric
not
July.
attacking the fans.
You're saying, well, he's stoking the fire, but it's like
he's attacking Eric July directly. He's not attacking the
fans. Are telling me I'm going to die. That they're going to send a secret ops team to my house to dissolve me in acid. That they're going to obtain Thanos' magic gauntlet and snap me into existence because they're fucking children and they live in the world.
Shaving Eric July's arms, that's a joke, but this stuff is serious. You're worried about the acid coming out.
No,
you're worried about the acid bath. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm not worried about the acid bath.
Okay, so what are you saying then?
I'm saying that when I have hundreds of people telling me I'm going to get sued into the ground and I'm going to end up in prison, my reaction is to go, fuck you, fuck Eric July, fuck his entire audience. We will fight this thing to the bitter fucking end if we have to. Now, if Eric July wants to do the wise thing, come out and go, you know what? I jumped the gun. I thought I had proof that Vito and Dick were engaged in these so-called gay ops, but at the end of the day, I think it truly was just a deranged fan. And as a YouTuber, I understand we can't always control what our fans do, and sometimes fans do stupid thing, and we disapprove of it. If he does that, hey Eric, great, let's put it under the rug. But if you're going to allow your audience to run around and tell me that I did this fucked up shit I didn't do, and that I deserve to die and go to prison for it, then fuck you. We will. This is going to go on forever. Then. Okay, if you thought we were too harsh on your shitty comic book before, you have no fucking idea the bitter end to which we will take this. So the ball's in Eric July's court. Come out and say, we're not going to sue Dick and Vito. Dick and Vito did nothing illegal. I was wrong. That's your only fucking option.
What are you going to do if he doesn't do that?
I'm going to shave that motherfucker.
Look, I can't. Sitch, look, you seem to think there's no contradiction here between the Vito, the one Vito who is like, oh, look, I don't want any trouble. I'm just, I don't want to be sued. And the one Vito that's coming out here and saying, look, I'm going to shave him. I'm going to fight this to the death.
There will not be a single hair left on that.
You don't see it. Look, you don't see a Jekyll and Hyde here.
You're not understanding my position. I'm saying that I think if you're going to say, or anyone's going to say, that Vito caused the person to send the email to ISOM because they shit on Eric July, then you also have to believe that all the people that are now shitting on Vito and Dick Masterson from Eric July's audience is Eric July's fault if he's spreading false information about them being responsible for this, right?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so then that would justify under that framework Vito to then turn around and then shit on Eric July for spreading false information, would it not?
And let's be real.
Look, I said this when Vito was on the show. I said, why are you doing this? What is the point of this? Why are you engaged?
You just changed the subject. I don't give a shit why Vito's doing anything, okay? What I'm saying is that under the framework that Vito would be justified to shit on Eric July if Eric July is spreading false information that's causing Eric July fans to attack Vito. Is that not true? Would you not agree with that, Adam?
You would have to go back and look at who started the escalation, obviously. I mean, if you're in a situation where you're exchanging attacks and someone is consistently raising the escalation, wouldn't you blame that party more than the person that was trying to de-escalate?
We're just talking about shitting on people on the internet. I'm not talking about escalating behaviors outside of the internet.
Okay.
Bro, I talked shit about The Last Jedi for 3 straight years. Okay?
Kathleen Kennedy should have come to you.
If somebody tries to sue Ryan Johnson, do I got to feel bad? Okay? If somebody sends some fucking troll email trying to get Ryan Johnson in trouble, do I have to go, oh my God, do
you understand how feuds get escalated? How escalation happens among feuds and then...
Yes, I understand. What happens
higher and higher levels of agitation takes place between these two.
Two comedians with an obvious comedic podcast put out a joking review of a comic book, and a thin-skinned moron.
You're just trying to downplay the escalation that's taking place here.
He is the escalation. He's a millionaire. All he has to do is ignore it. All he has to do is go, well, I understand there's some criticism of my comic book, but you know what? I'm just out here doing the best I can, and I really hope that the fans like it.
Look,
that's it. But this is a guy who, no. Eric July is the ultimate in escalation.
Sitch, do you see the letter to the ISOM company as a level of
Yeah, but they didn't send
acceleration about.
Or
yes,
Vito's
obviously,
saying he didn't send. Vito's saying
not.
Vito's claiming
some other party did, but I'm saying in the exchange here there was an escalation that took place.
Yes.
Can I make a point about that email real quick?
Vito is ignoring that escalation.
He's not. Wait, no, he's not. Stop. Wait, Adam. Wait, one second, Vito. Adam, you cannot conflate the actions of Vito with the actions of a fan and say that that's an escalation, right?
My God.
If Vito is not, if Vito, I mean,
right.
you could throw Dick Masterson if he's going to.
Escalation took place.
Wait,
You're right.
stop.
Look, it's my imagination that an escalation took place.
No, wait, no, stop. What the fuck? I don't know what you're talking about here. Because to me that's interesting. The reason I want to have Vito come on and talk about this is Vito or Dick Masterson responsible on any level for the person sending the letter? I thought that's what the conversation was about.
Sure.
Okay. So if that's why I was asking these questions specifically.
You're saying they are nowhere near responsible. They have zero responsibility whatsoever.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom to. Because if what they're doing is criticizing the comic book, right? And that's the majority or all of the thing, then you say unequivocally no.
Right.
But we so far have one additional thing, which is that you had
Vito
a person
went on his show and said, "Listen, I don't like." He admits that he originally said that there was this other ISOM out there in the world.
You're not tracking what I'm saying.
No, I am tracking. Look, Vito said on his show that there was some
I didn't say
trademark
that on the show.
thing.
I never said that on the show.
Okay, so you said it on Twitter.
I thought you did say.
So not on the show.
So Vito could literally be the origin of this idea.
Wait. Where did you say it?
It was on Twitter.
Okay, you said there's a tweet.
This was when he announced the campaign.
Gotcha.
This was like a year and a half ago.
Right.
We have never talked about it on the podcast.
Okay.
I don't think anyone even saw that tweet.
Gotcha.
Okay. Nobody ever saw that tweet.
It was like
Vito is completely innocent, Sitch. Nobody ever saw the tweet.
Okay,
well, I'm innocent by value of if they saw the tweet and they got in their head that it's the same trademark. How is that? Am I not allowed to think that the trademark is similar?
Oh, you're completely allowed to think that, Vito. Of course.
So what did I do wrong? Tell me what I did wrong.
Look, according to Sitch, you've done absolutely nothing wrong.
Okay,
but according to you, what did I do that was morally wrong?
Look, you've created a giant headache for Eric July over this trademark thing.
My moral job is to not create headaches. Well, hold on. How did I create this lawsuit? What are you talking about?
Well, first of all, you're saying that you do not believe this trademark dispute. You think that this trademark dispute would have happened regardless of your involvement. If there was a world, another universe where Vito didn't exist, Vito and Dick Masterson's show was never created, this trademark dispute would have appeared eventually and come to bite.
It's my belief that the ISOM...
I don't know that is the case. I think that's a kind of a maybe insane claim to even make.
You think that's insane? You don't think that the organization Googles themselves and goes, hey, wait, why are we not the #1 result for ISOM anymore?
Well,
hey, wait, why is this guy like a Christian superhero and we're a Christian organization?
Even if they did, Vito, they would have to come up with some evidence that there was confusion in the marketplace.
I don't think they do need that.
This letter is like the perfect evidence for it.
Hold on. I don't think you actually need that to have a copyright claim. You don't have to prove that confusion exists in the marketplace. You just have to demonstrate that it reasonably somebody could. Now, they tried to include that email to say, look, there already is, to strengthen their case.
Look, you can
absolutely file a trademark dispute without that.
You're arguing that you didn't have a tangible effect on it, and I think that claim is potentially specious. So that's the difference of opinion here. Sitch, I would love you to weigh in. Sitch, what do you think?
I would say, well, I can't weigh in on whether Dick Masterson and Vito not existing would have caused the lawsuit, because you would think that eventually these places would Google themselves. But even if I grant you, Adam, that complaint only exists because of Vito and Dick Masterson, to me, that's irrelevant. Because them just pointing out, or rather them just criticizing ISOM, that's fine. Like, that's why I don't understand your argument here. Just like, why are you saying that they're not allowed to criticize ISOM because their fan can come out, that their fan can do something like outside the bounds of criticism? Like,
who am I supposed to answer here? And can I at least hear one question at a time?
Adam. Here's the question. Okay. Do you think that it's totally acceptable morally for Vito and Dick Masterson to rip on Eric July and his comic book and criticize it for being a shitty comic every day for the end of time? You think that's fine for them to do?
Yes. Okay.
So what is the problem?
You can't come out and say that you're not at least partially responsible for the situation that is taking place here
in an immoral fashion. I should not have used my free speech.
Well, Okay,
Look,
so wait,
look, you want to put some moral valence on it, like that you did something wrong. I don't.
Just say I did nothing wrong, because I didn't. There is nothing immoral about me saying Eric July's comic sucks. Even if that leads to someone going to if a crazy person hears me say that ISOM sucks, and they go, I agree, and they drive to Eric July's house and shoot him in the head, I've still done nothing wrong. Because that is a completely unrelated event that I had no possible way of predicting, nor could any reasonable person expect my free speech to lead to that. And it's the same with this lawsuit. When I said ISOM sucks, I didn't think, gosh, down the line, someone might create a lawsuit for this guy. That's not how critique of media works. When I review a movie, I don't go, this might create legal problems for Warner Brothers down the road. I'm just talking shit about Blue Beetle because it sucks.
But you are celebrating that it has created legal problems.
I'm not celebrating it.
You are totally celebrating that this has created legal problems for Eric July.
Dick thinks it's funny. I said I think it's stupid.
Well, anyway, half of your show is celebrating. So.
Okay, so I asked you, do any fans do anything outside the realms of criticism?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's the charity thing. Was there another incident like that? Or anything outside?
I mean, that wasn't even an incident. An
incident of a fan doing something outside the realms of just shitting and critiquing on his content.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's okay. So position.
Another thing I want to mention is we're not the only person talking about ISOM. So even this guy who reached out and sent this email, I know that he listens to, like Vicky makes videos about this. Tony TGB makes videos about it. And I'm pretty sure I've seen him, tweeting at those people as well. Like, we're not the only ones commenting on ISOM. But we're bearing all the, blame because he signed our names to this dumb email.
Right.
One thing about that email is he signs his name as Roy Gerbel. That's a reference to an entirely different podcast called Phone Losers of America. This is a guy who listens to a bunch of different shows. I don't know what instigated him to send this stupid email.
Okay.
You can say, yeah, obviously listen to our show, but at the end of the day, this man makes his own decisions.
And you never said on the show that ISOM infringes on some copyright.
No, we never brought that up.
Okay. So that's why. So my position, first of all, I think you could say, Adam, I think you could say probably that, yes, Dick and Vito talking about this, would potentially have someone motivated to do the behavior, but I don't think that makes them culpable for the behavior at all, just because they're criticizing someone's comic book. I mean, we criticize people fucking all the time. I don't think we would be responsible for someone going out and trying to put some of the bread tubers or whoever we criticize into some kind of legal jeopardy.
Sure.
Well, okay. So, what's the difference? Because you disagree.
Well,
I think I'm being too mean to Eric July.
I'm not gonna say. Look, I'm not gonna say that Vito is innocent. I don't feel like that's the case. So I just I'm using my free speech to say, you're saying, look, you've done nothing wrong, and I'm using my free speech to say, no, fuck you. You're an asshole.
This man who has a multi-million-dollar product.
Look at this class reductionist here. He's like, listen, he's rich, so we should hate his guts.
No. Hold on.
Typical leftist. Typical leftist.
I want to address that.
The power. Look, you can spell better than him, so you have the power, Vito. What are you doing? You have the privilege, the spelling privilege.
If I devoted my energy to going after a homeless guy, I would get it. I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Who cares that his comic sucks? This is a guy who is being hyped up as the biggest independent comic creator
and you're
of all time.
Seethingly jealous of that. It's
Why would I be jealous
apparent.
Of a fucking libertarian comic? I don't want to make libertarian comics.
Look, you're jealous. You're jealous of the $5 million in sales that he's done. It offends your sensibility as an artist. You think, oh my God, this is trash, and why are people buying it? It's a typical elitist perspective that a lot of people have.
Hold on.
It is jealousy. What are you talking about?
Saying this is trash, why are people buying it, is jealousy?
Yes. You're like, oh my God, they should buy my amazing comic from me,
When
the
I say
author genius
When
Vito.
I say The Last Jedi is a piece of shit, how on earth did it make $1 billion? Am I jealous of The Last Jedi?
Yes, you're jealous that the culture enjoys
All
that
right,
movie.
Goodbye. Thank you. Fucking stupid.
Okay.
Well, thanks. Thanks for coming on, Vito. I'm glad you came on. It's a funny clip. So.
Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.